in the senator's office. Tuberville spoke with reporters after that meeting.
He's going to be a great Secretary of Defense. He understands it. As I tell him, we don't need a general officer, admiral, or a person of high command. We need a drill sergeant in the military. We need somebody to straighten the military out, to get the woke, the DEI affiliation out, and go from there.
And you don't have any concerns about the allegations against him in the New Yorker article, sir?
No, I've looked at all the personal stuff, and again, I've known him for a long time, and there's not going to be anything to this at the end of the day. Well, I've asked him, and he had a good explanation, but I'm not going to try to explain to y'all about his personal endeavors over the many years. I mean, that's up to him. That's not up to me.
Hegseth showed confidence after his first round of meetings.
I enjoy the process talking to senators. They've got a very important role in advising consent, and I welcome their advice. They understand in this Senate Armed Services Committee, the Defense Department, and I welcome their counsel.
Roughly a dozen Republicans from the GOP steering committee also met with Hegseth yesterday and emerged from the closed-door meeting ready to back his nomination. But we should note, it's come into real question after reporting about an alleged sexual assault back in 2017 and a blockbuster New Yorker report this week that details years of alcohol abuse and more. Meanwhile, President Biden continues to face bipartisan backlash after issuing a full and unconditional pardon to his son, Hunter. A number of moderate Democrats are criticizing the move, arguing that it sets a bad precedent. Senator Michael Bennet of Colorado broke with party ranks and claimed that Biden's decision, quote, put personal interest ahead of duty. Senator Peter Welch of Vermont wrote this: Biden's pardon of his son, Hunter, is, as the action of a loving father, understandable, but as the actions of our nation's chief executive, unwise. Senator Gary Peters of Michigan called the decision wrong, adding that a president's family and allies shouldn't get special treatment. Outgoing Senator John Tester was also asked for his reaction and, with a wide smile on his face, told reporters, "I'm about to get the expletive out of here. Ask somebody else." Meanwhile, a handful of Republicans appeared to offer some support for Biden's pardon. Senator Tommy Tuberville told reporters he'd have done the same thing, but was critical of Biden for going back on his word. Take a listen to that and also what Senator Lindsey Graham had to say.
Well, I'll put it this way. If it was my son, I'd pardon him too. But here's what I didn't like. Don't lie to us. Don't tell us you're not going to do it and then do it. That's not what a president should be like. You know, if you're going to do it, which he should have at the end of the day when somebody asks him that, I'll make that decision later. But don't lie to the American people, because it's not upholding to the President of the United States.
Listen, the accusation is that, that he was picked on by the legal system. I don't buy that. I think he got probably a deal the average American wouldn't get. But having said that, I'm a human being. I know the Bidens, and it's been done. And let's look forward. All I can say is I'm ready to turn the page.
Outgoing Senator Joe Manchin went one step further yesterday, suggesting that President Biden should also issue a pardon to President-elect Trump.
Do you know of any fathers that wouldn't have done the same?
Right.
That's all. And then basically, I went one step further. I thought it would have been a little better move if he'd have pardoned Trump too. You follow me? And just say, let's put bygones be gone, put the past behind us, let's move forward.
There's no indication that a pardon for Trump is being considered. Joining us now, White House correspondent for Politico, Adam Cancran. Adam, good to see you. So let's start here with this Biden pardon. You've done some reporting on it, and it seems that there are two things that have really triggered criticism. First, that the president and his team had for months, if not longer, had effectively decisively ruled out ever doing this. And they went back on their word. And also in the president's statement, he took what some suggested were some swipes at the DOJ that maybe were unnecessary. Talk to us about what you're hearing for the blowback take us inside the decision. What are some of the long-term effects?
Yeah, those two factors are really what is generating a lot of this blowback that you're seeing from Republicans and even Democrats there. Senator Michael Bennet, Colorado Governor Jared Polis also chiming in and saying essentially, this was a mistake. He understands it, but this was a mistake. Democrats really concerned here about the blurring of the distinction that Joe Biden has tried throughout his term to draw between how he views institutions like the Justice Department and the justice system overall, and how Trump views them as institutions to be bent to his will. And the concern among Democrats that we talk to is that this muddles the issue with the public and gives Trump essentially more ammo for justifying whatever he's going to do when he gets into office with the Justice Department and also with the FBI. For Biden, though, I mean, look, this is a guy who is at the end of a term. He's got 2 months of this power left, and he's always seen this Hunter Biden trial and conviction as, in his mind, kind of an overreach, something that if it was anybody else would not have been such of a big deal, would not have been potentially even prosecuted. And so ultimately, friends and allies of his told us, he had this power and he decided he was going to use it, both to spare his family further pain, but also to make a statement about what he believed was a targeting of his son purely for political purposes.
And let's be clear, he's far from the first president to issue a pardon for a family member. Let's shift gears now. The action in the building behind you yesterday, Pete Hegseth meeting with senators, his nomination for Secretary of Defense, seemingly in real doubt right now. The choice of Kash Patel to lead the FBI also coming under real scrutiny. But we did hear from some Republicans suggesting they'd support both. What's the latest you've heard, though, in terms of whether they'd get to that number of 4? Because all it takes is 4 Republicans to sink one of those nominations. What's the whip count right now?
The real question here is, when it comes to all of these nominees, how many senators are willing to vote no against several of them, or maybe even a couple of them? And to your point, look, it only takes 4 Republicans to say, look, this person is beyond the pale, we're going to say no. But they've already said no to Matt Gaetz. And as you're looking at these nominees, Kash Patel, Pete Hegseth, even Robert F. Kennedy Jr. for Health Secretary, although there are serious concerns on the Republican side that, these folks are not particularly the traditional fit and that they may have just things that would otherwise be disqualifying, the real calculation that you're seeing from a lot of Republicans here is how many times can we say no to Donald Trump before it begins to cause a problem for us and for the Senate as a whole. And so that's the calculation that you're going to see as folks weigh their vote and they get further along in the process. And frankly, as more revelations come out.
Yeah, and certainly there's been a drip, particularly on Hegseth. Adam, lastly and briefly, do we have a sense yet as to how much political capital Trump is willing to spend on these picks? He made some calls on Gaetz's behalf and then grew sort of frustrated with that process. Do we think he's going to go to bat for these picks as well?
Yeah, well, you only have to look at his willingness to continue to nominate folks who are particularly loyal to him, even if they don't have the qualifications or even if they have things in their past that would normally be disqualifying. This is the cabinet he wants. These are the people he wants. And at least for now, he's going to go to bat for them. One point I'll make on Kash Patel, even if he doesn't end up having the votes to be confirmed, there is an acting process that could install Kash Patel atop the FBI for 100, 200 days. And so there are alternatives here that will allow Trump to get what he wants, even if the Senate ultimately says no.
Yeah, certainly there's a lot that can be done in 100 to 200 days were he to be atop the FBI, even temporarily. Terrific reporting and analysis, as always, from White House correspondent for Politico, Adam Cankren. Adam, thank you. We really appreciate it. Next up here, we'll bring you new concerns that the fragile ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah could unravel. We'll bring you the very latest from the region. Plus, weeks before Donald Trump is set to be sworn in, the Biden administration is rushing another multi-million-dollar aid package to Ukraine. We'll get into that, bring you other top headlines, and a check on sports and weather when we come right back.
This super complicated bomb is set to go off in about 52 seconds. SWAT team got another call, so I have to take a ride share home? And my wife wants to know how I feel about an open relationship. But I just got approved for a home equity line of credit with Better, so that's one less thing to worry about. Give yourself one less thing to worry about. Get Better Mortgage.
The Cuisinart Air Fryer Toaster Oven can air fry, toast, bake, grill, and broil. So you can break up with your oven. It's a work of Cuisinart.
How can your small business rev up holiday sales? By advertising on TikTok.
We saw a 200% increase in sales after running TikTok ads.
Our orders went from 5 a day to over 250 orders a day.
For every $1 we spent on TikTok ads, we made over $10 in sales.
Drive more customers to your website or sell products right in the app, just like these business owners did. Want amazing results? You have to start now. We'll even give you ad credits to help kick things off. Don't miss out. Don't wait. Get started today.
The government thought that showing the world separation, they would scare people that were attempting to come from coming.
It troubles me profoundly that it could happen again.
Welcome back. An Israeli-American soldier who was thought to have been taken hostage by Hamas during the October 7th terror attack is now presumed dead. NBC News international correspondent Matt Bradley brings us the latest from the region.
The fate of 2 young American-Israeli hostages coming into focus. Israel's military announced that Omer Nutra, a 21-year-old IDF soldier from New York, was killed in the Hamas terror attacks on October 7th. For more than 400 days, his family thought he was still alive. His mother at a rally for hostages before word of his death.
We pray that this time miracles should happen, and they should happen really quickly.
Along with that news, word another American hostage is still alive. Appearing in a Hamas propaganda video on Saturday, Idan's mother appealing to Israel's prime minister and president for a hostage deal. While in Gaza, U.S.-based charity World Central Kitchen pausing its operations after 3 of its local staff members were killed in an Israeli airstrike. Israel said one of the 3 had participated in the October 7 terrorism, but the organization said it has no knowledge of any of the staff in the targeted vehicle having participated in that day's attacks. Meanwhile, war in the